Hey everybody, welcome to Northern Thailand and welcome to Worm Bin Weekends. I know, it's been nearly 5 months since we last visited each other, so it was time to finally get things started back up. So we've got a new start before the end of the year. As you saw maybe perhaps out on my community tab, I just ordered a whole ½ kilo of new worms. I divided them up against the 3 bins that we have here, and we're just gonna get things started back up. Now, it is the cold season, but I think we might be able to still take advantage of some of these warmer days before we get into December. And in doing so, hopefully I'll be able to come out with some really good harvests. Now, part of the reason why things got held up is I was really busy in the garden this year. Things got really busy in there, so I didn't have as much time to spend with the worms. And as such, I had to let the bins kind of go. The worms that were in there, and there weren't many, I did release into my garden, and I just started with a whole brand new batch of them. Because I did get a ½ kilo, which was way more than I needed, I had to go with some old tricks on this. And by that I mean I had to use the soap trick, where you take soap, a very small amount of it, and you run it across the rim of the bin. Worms repel from soap, and the minute they sense it, it knocks them back. They literally fall right off the side and back into the bin. It's not the greatest thing to do, but I didn't want to have just a gaggle of worms over the house and in the water tubs right now. Because with it being as cold as it's getting down into the 50s and 60s at night, that would kill them. So I'm trying to keep them in the bins, but it's also very dry. It's cold and it's dry right now. So anyway, enough of my rambling. We're starting this video off with bin 1. Bins 2 and 3 will follow. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the worms. They've been in the bins now for just a little over 10 days, and let's check on their progress. All right, bin 1. Now, couple things I didn't mention in the opener. When you put the soap up on the rim like this here, be extremely careful that you just put it on a dry finger and you smooth it on the top here. Don't let it get into the bin. If it does, it's going to cause major problems for the worms and put more stress on them than they need. It looks really dry. It's just one of the things I was kind of concerned about. Now, I did leave a fair amount of the castings. Ooh, what's this? That's not good. I'm not sure how that got in there. No worms, but a piece of plastic. Anyway, I did leave a fair amount of the castings that had been previously processed inside of the bin here. But as you can see, just already here on the side, no worms to speak of. Now, this has been 1, and in bin 1, that was the last group of the worms that I put in, was here in bin 1. The majority of them went into bins 2 and 3. I didn't exactly see how many I put here in bin 1, but I put them right on top of this leaf. There we go. Now, something I've learned about the African nightcrawler is that they really, unlike their cousins, the reds and the Europeans, they do not do well for long periods of time in their castings. And so the reason why I'm sharing that is because I am going to become quite vigilant in harvesting as we go into the next year. And I can tell I did not put as many worms in here as I did in bins 2 and 3. You'll see that as I get to those videos next, but it looks like a lot of this area is still very dry. I'm gonna have to add some moisture. I'm not feeding them yet because even though it's been 10 days, these guys came from the outside. I really want to get them kind of just used to their environment. Plus, there's still a lot of remnant stuff in here in addition to bedding that I added. I'll show you the shredder that I've gone with now in a later video, probably next time around. I finally broke the bank and just decided, you know what, if I'm gonna do this and I want to do it right, I have to get a micro shredder, and so that's what I did this time. Like I said, I'll show it to you in a future video, probably next week. But right now, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get my spray gun. We're gonna moisten things up a bit in here. They like it dry, but not this dry. Even this is too dry for them. So, yeah, that grouping of worms you saw there in the middle, that's all that's in this bin right now. And really, truth be told, it's not that that's a bad amount to start off with. I was trying to estimate around 100 worms per bin, maybe even less. But as you can see, they're even still kind of lethargic, and I think a lot of that just has to do with the cold right now. Not even so much just being too dry. I think it's the cold. Let's find a few more. Let me get my spray bottle and I will be right back. One of the other things I'm really going to focus on doing is making sure that I add a lot of bedding. African night crawlers really like their carbons, more so than probably anything else. It's the food that they favor the most out of everything, and the bioremediation effort that has now kind of changed a bit since I started to add something known as chitosan is still going to happen here with the worms, but I'm changing the sequence up a little bit not to include the black soldier flies, and I'll explain that a little bit later in a very specific video with regards to bioremediation. But right now, we just kind of smooth things over, wet things down. Here's that durian shell from June that I put in here. Obviously it hasn't been touched, but it's a little dry in here, and again, they're just getting used to their environment. I'm probably going to wind up, depending on how the worm population looks in bins 2 and 3, I'm probably going to end up putting more worms over here from bins 2 and 3. It seems to be a continual theme for me with these bins. It's just getting the balance right on the population, but yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah, I'm going to not be adding more bedding tonight, but probably at my next check-in I'm going to load this thing up with more bedding. This here, these are very sharp, so you always want to be careful with them. Over a little bit. Yeah, but as you can see, I mean, there's still a lot of castings in here from the previous group, and I just want to make sure that I get as much moisture in here as I can just in the initial going. They regulated the moisture levels pretty well. I mean, you saw in the original series, in my original playlist, dating back to last September, I barely had to add moisture to this bin after it got going in the initial going. It didn't require any. A lot of that came because of the moisture of the foods. And again, the African nightcrawler seems to do better in drier environments, which makes sense given where they come from. Okay, not a lot of worms to see, but you guys get the idea of what we're going to be doing here. I'm probably, like I said, going to be adding some more in over from the other 2 bins that I'm going to be doing next. And those videos will come up in just a moment. So if you haven't already, I hope you liked the video. Please share it with somebody you know. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'd really love it if you would, and hit the bell notification icon if you would, so you can be alerted to when I upload new content. Listen, wherever you are in this world, today or tonight, you take care. Bye for now.